Well, this is an interdisciplinary graduate program in public policy, which historically has been named Urban and Environmental Policy and Planning, but it contains a lot of people who address different issues. I happen to address a lot of science policy issues. So it incorporates, though, city planning, it incorporates housing, it incorporates child and families. And well, I started studying physics, and then I started asking questions that my professors were not interested in answering. And then I knew I had to go into something deeper, the philosophy of science. So I then started to turn my studies away from physics per se to philosophy of physics and philosophy of science. And that eventually got me into science policy issues. And from there, I just began looking at challenging questions and following my intuitions. Well, each issue I choose sort of gets me out of my comfort zone. And probably the last issue, the one I recently got involved with, which was criminal justice and forensic DNA, had a lot of challenges associated with it. I had to learn everything I needed to know about forensic science, and I had to study the law in a way I've never done before. So it was quite challenging to be able to combine many of these disciplines, sociology, forensic science, law, into one comprehensive book. There hasn't been a lot of resistance yet to the book on genetic justice. And if it were to come, it probably would come from the criminal justice sector, and they usually remain pretty quiet. But in other books I've had that dealt with ethics and medicine, I've had a lot of resistance and a lot of criticism for people whose interests, whose financial interests, were going to be impacted by the book. And of course, whenever I write about chemicals and health, the chemical industry is always watching me. Well, every time I get involved in a project, it becomes an obsession. You almost have to do this when you're probing deeply into subject matter. But I try to balance my life with family and friends, and I live both in Cambridge and in New York City, so it provides enough of a diversity of activities. But I'm very focused when I work on a subject, not unlike somebody who's making a film and blocks out everything else that they do while they're doing it. I think that people in academia like to see their ideas get out to the largest audience possible. At the same time, they usually publish in publications that are viewed as, appropriate for their discipline. And it's a tough balance. So most of my books are from academic presses, and it's not a popular press. But these academic presses sometimes have mass media markets, and that's what I try to write in for people who can take the, take the effort to read carefully a book that might not be, a popular memoir or something like that. And I always try to explain the science as well as I can to people who haven't had the background.